on the Liz Callaway Show with Nick Summers. We're going to round out our tiny home village, and I just got done scolding Emily Merritt, but she is here, George and Sharon Bublé's daughter. She's visiting.
Is she officially a Bublé?
She's officially a Bublé.
Do you know all about the Bublé thing?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Do you like the Bublé music?
Well, yeah. I mean, I grew up with it because my mom just plays it on repeat. So.
I know, exactly. So I'm sure she's listening at home. But
You're a
Emily,
saint, George.
I brought you on the air a long time ago when I used to be at the other station, and it's been quite a while since we've spoken. But the reason why I had brought you on is because you were studying tick-borne illnesses that a lot of people don't even realize exist. And we've been outside planting and doing all this stuff. People have to be careful. And you wanted to bring the perspective of the fact that there are many military members that do training in the woods, and later on these illnesses and symptoms pop up and they don't know where they belong, what's causing them.
Yeah, so obviously, we're outside right now. It's beautiful in here. I was actually, when we were walking back there, I was like, oh, ticks are here.
Yeah, a lot of people don't think there are.
Right. Well, and even in this kind of landscape where it's kind of nice and kept, they can even be here because think about it. You've got rabbits, squirrels, chipmunks hopping around, nibbling on everything, and they've got ticks on them.
And there's so many different tick-borne illnesses. There really are. So give us some useful information that we need.
Absolutely. So, I feel like everyone's basically heard of Lyme disease, but there's other ones too. A funky one called alpha-gal allergy that actually makes you allergic to red meat and other meat-derived products, so sometimes milk, so it can make people lactose intolerant. But there's other ones too, especially in the South, Rocky Mountain spotted fever. There's some kind of off-brand ones, if you will, anaplasmosis, babesiosis. There's a bunch of them. But overall, they're caused by tick bites, and there's several different species of ticks. But primarily how it happens is, you're out gardening or you're out in the woods, hiking, sometimes even at the beach, and a tick attaches to you. You're not paying attention because you're just enjoying your life or doing your job. Yeah. And they stay attached for sometimes hours, days, and that's when the biggest risk happens. You can get a tick-borne illness that way.
So you were studying this as part of your university graduate program,
It was actually after graduate school, but I had a passion for it before that, and then kind of turned it into a job. Yeah, and I would love to get back into it, actually.
So what is the message that you want to make sure everybody knows today?
It's just, don't be afraid to go outside. Don't be afraid to enjoy yourself, but just be aware that if you're in a spot that's super grassy, it's got a lot of bushes, shrubs, sometimes it can be an open field, it can be a wooded forest. It doesn't matter. Just be sure that you are checking yourself when you're done. You're checking the outside of your clothes, you're checking your body, and you want to feel your skin for any sort of little bump or lump. And the best way that I like to prevent ticks from getting on me is by treating my clothes with a permethrin spray.
Oh, this is interesting.
Yes.
What is that?
It's like a very high test bug spray. So, a lot of people like the deep wood stuff on their skin.
But we hear DEET is really bad for you now.
Well, it is, yeah. And also it feels gross on your skin. So what I like to do is, usually when I go out, even if it's hot like this, I try to wear long sleeve pants and shirts that are light, so it's not breathable and you're not sweating too bad. But then I treat the outside of those clothes with a permethrin spray, and you can Google it. Sawyer is a really good brand, but you just kind of dust your clothes, and it prevents against mosquitoes, chiggers, any sort of spiders, anything.
Can you use it on your pets?
So your pets, you should probably use the flea and tick medication, you have the topical or the pill. That's the best defense for pets. But I have heard of some people spraying permethrin on their pet's fur. I don't know. I haven't tested that out. I don't know.
Yeah, well, you have a couple of dogs that like to be in the woods, right?
Yes, yeah. So they're treated with a pill called Bravecto, and I found that I really like that the best. I think it works a little bit more effectively than some of the topical treatments.
Okay.
But yeah, so there's ways that you can prevent. And, if you can't treat your clothes, then check your skin or have somebody help check your skin, because they're sometimes in hard-to-reach places.
When you were doing your research, was there something in particular that stood out to you that you maybe uncovered or discovered or... was surprised by?
Well, I think just like ticks are everywhere. I know that in the South, maybe not so much in South Carolina, and I know that a lot of people in this area are from the North, so they like think about Lyme disease and ticks a lot. But in the South, I went to Auburn University for graduate school, and especially in Alabama, they have this narrative that like ticks aren't really that prevalent. They are. They are, and tick-borne diseases are down there. I think just the biggest thing is like there were ticks.
Yeah.
It's not something to let your guard. If you're outside at all, just like it's like mosquitoes are buzzing around you, and you just kind of make them go away. It's same thing with ticks, and they
carry illnesses as
well.
well.
Oh yeah.
I mean, malaria. I think the mosquito is the most deadliest animal on the planet.
Well, yeah, worldwide for sure. Yeah. But, it's so similar. Like, if you're thinking about that, just also think about it. Am I going to be in grassy areas? Am I going to be in wooded areas? If so, then treat your clothes.
Well, full disclosure, I was bitten by a Lyme disease tick laying on my lounge chair poolside in my backyard in Forsberg.
Yep.
And I grew up on Long Island.
Yeah, not surprised.
And so I got it's not even, they call it a bullseye, but it was long. It's not actually round. And it was on my back. And I remember being like, what's biting me? And then, a couple of days later, there's this huge rash. But only 20% of people bitten by a tick get that rash.
Yep. It's not, just because you get the rash does not, or just because you don't get the rash does not mean you're negative.
You're lucky if you get the rash.
You are lucky if you get the rash.
Yeah.
And sometimes the rash takes a different shape. It's not necessarily a perfect bullseye. It can
Mine
take
was
different
like
forms.
the Milky Way. It was like long and spread out like that.
Did you get treated for it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I did an mRNA.
Oh, okay.
Before anybody knew about it.
Yeah. Wow, this was a while ago, huh?
Yeah. So I did an mRNA from Greece, the country.
Oh, okay.
And we sent it out, my blood work, and they sent back an mRNA designed to kill that bacteria.
Oh, wow.
And I had multiple. I got 4 levels of bacteria treatment.
Wow.
So that was a lifesaver for me. But I may have had some side effects from the mRNA because it's in those lipid nanoparticles. So you never know exactly. The best way is to not get it.
Well,
just don't get it.
And in an ideal scenario, that's what would happen.
Keeping your immune system healthy.
Yes.
Because most people can keep it tamped down their whole lives. And never even know they have contracted, because we contract things all the time. But if your immune system is strong enough, you won't even know you have it. But they are discovering that it is passed on in utero. And that's how they figured out in Lyme, Connecticut, how it's so prevalent.
Yep.
And it's like you're passing it on generation to generation, and people don't even realize it.
Yeah.
It's another aspect of it.
Yeah, it's really, there's still, and it's crazy that there's not more known about it. It's obviously like just...
I try and do my best.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I like to talk about it. And I did just start a YouTube channel called Tick Chick. And I'm going to start posting.
Tick Chick.
Yep. I'm going to start posting more about it.
That's really clever.
Yeah. I'm going to start posting more about it because I feel like I just know so much. And for some reason, this is like a thing that I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where I feel like I wish that they would do more research. I wish it would be taken more seriously.
Yeah.
And I think once, the more you talk about it, the more people pay attention. So.
Well, it might be the reason why people are just feeling ill.
Yeah.
And they can't put their finger on it.
Yeah.
And if you know what ails you, it makes it, it gives you something to focus on to get better.
And so many doctors don't even know. They just treat the symptoms. They don't even think that it could be some sort of an insect bite or what have you.
Right. It's crazy that you would think that the people who are supposed to be knowing all of this, but like, they're humans too. They can't know everything.
No.
And if you live in an area like in Connecticut and Massachusetts, it's common up there.
Yeah.
So it's like one of the things that they think of. But if you're in other parts of the country, it might not be one of their go-to thoughts.
Well, I was a Cub Scout mom, and that's all we focused on because we had to bring the kids into the woods all the time. So we were always doing these tick checks and all that. So teach the kids how to check each other. That's an important thing. Well, Emily Merritt, Tick Chick on YouTube.
Yep.
All right. So I'll be looking for that. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And, anytime she's in town, that's what we do. And we are signing off from the Tiny Home Village.